Good morning, and welcome to another day of our little program, Who Am I? I'm glad to have you here. I have had some regular listeners, although I think the last couple of ones, I'm not sure that they were listened to, and that's all right. People do not have to listen to every stab at this. I'm not even sure what I'm doing. I just feel the impulse, and I come in here and I stream this. You may think that what I'm creating is these recordings, and I am, but I do know that what I'm actually creating is myself, as are we all. All of us. It's the part that we get to take with us is ourselves. The rest of it, the stuff around us, we don't get to take with us, only ourselves. So that's what I'm about. Who am I? We come into the space and we ask the question, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I'm a human being. What is that? Where did it come from? What is it doing here? What are we about? Are we going to survive? Are we going to survive this? Are we just here to be tortured until we finally die and then get sweet release? Is that who we are? I don't think so. I don't think that's actually who we are. And I'm not sure that we are actually being who we actually are. I think we're being something else. I think we're being something less. And I think it would be wonderful if we would come to a better understanding of who we are and what we are about. And I'm about that every day. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I to be in this space recording these things, talking about who am I? I'm nobody. And yet I think that that's my highest credential. Because what I'm talking about is how cool we all are, who we are as a species, who we are as a setup, who we are as potential. What can we do with this human being machine if we would but understand how it works? What we could do with the world around us. How we could fabulously and synchronistically and sustainably co-create with the field around us. Create anything we want. Anything we want. The only thing we can't create is a world that is... let's see. How do you put this? You can't sustain an unsustainable plan. So we couldn't create that. We could not create a world that sustains from an unsustainable blueprint. We can't defy the laws of physics. That's the one thing we cannot do. Everything else, though, I mean, when you realize, I need to quit bobbing my head around, I realize how much it affects the audio. I need to get out I have a little clippy recording that you put on your clothes, then I can turn all over the place and it won't change the audio. I realized yesterday that when I do this and this, and this, if you have a good enough recording set up, you'll see that my voice is going back and forth from location to location when I move my head around. So I got to stop doing that. Anyway, who am I? Who am I? Who am I, and how does it work? Now, when I say that we're going to talk about how to make your dreams come true, it's not just how to make your dreams come true, but how to help you massage your dreams. How to work with your beliefs and your desires so that you can get them into the same vicinity so that then they can come true, so that then they can unfold. You may have beliefs that are stopping your dreams from coming true. Because your dreams aren't well thought out. You aren't focused properly. You aren't, in actual fact, what you really want, your inner being knows what you really want. You may not know what you really want, but your inner being absolutely knows what you really want. You have incrementally declared what you want your entire life, and your inner being has been marking it. Keeping track, remembering, thinking only about what you want. So you don't have to worry about goal setting and stuff. You just learn to go with the flow of your heart, and that which you want, you will move towards. It's kind of how that works. So you may be sitting in a situation where things are not the way you like. I know several people who have elements of the situation that they do not care for. Loved ones dying, lovers leaving, grandchildren descending upon one's life, many grandchildren, great-grandchildren even. You love them all dearly. Husbands who are out of their minds. See, who else do I have in my known sphere that has troubles? We all have troubles. We all have troubles. Career choices. Let's see, I got somebody who is thinking about moving careers, feels like he's let his family down. We all have our issues, don't we? And how do you make your dreams come true? Well, sometimes it's not just a question of shifting the field around you, like making all of that change, but also looking differently at what you've got and morphing where you are gently, easily, smoothly, lovingly, kindly into a better place where you feel different about it as you go. And then as you feel different, things start turning out different, and then maybe you might have limiting beliefs. You might have... So anyway, we're going to regroup and begin again because this program is Who Am I? I think what I was doing before is oh, never mind. The program is about our nature. What is it? Our nature from a source perspective. Who are we as source energy? And what is source energy? And why do I need to think about who I am as source energy? And what is everything else as source energy? And what is source energy? All of those questions. And then there's the obvious, who am I within that? But we're going to get to some more layers of things because you have a particular physical design too. And this physical design, understanding that, helps us to understand how to live our lives and how to understand the meaning of our emotions, our emotional guidance system. It will help us in our quest to get off of fossil fuels. You might wonder what all of these things have to do with one another. What's the thread of sameness? It seems like my program is all over the board. Thank you very much. But it isn't really. These things do have to do with one another, and our understanding of how they interact and what they have to do with you is going to help you understand how better to live your life. On the one hand, understanding these impersonal energies, quit personalizing everything. It's not personal. And yet, of course, when you're talking about your person, your physical person, there's nothing more personal than your physical person. So it's both absolutely, completely impersonal, and yet really personal. You can take it personally to you, but it isn't personal. The whole thing, the way the energies move, the pattern that you are in the middle of, how these things flow together and with one another, it's not personal. Don't take it personally. It's not a personal indictment on anything, on your value or your goodness or anything. Don't take anything personal like that. Because the truth of the matter is that you are of tremendous value. You are of tremendous value to the scheme of things. We all are. And how it works, well, we're going to talk about how it works. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I in reference to source energy, and how does this source energy thing work? I think it's worth a discussion. People talk about it every day in Sunday school. Well, that's not, they talk about it every Sunday. In their religions and stuff. Who am I? Who am I? And what are the rules? What are the rules of existence? That's an interesting thing to understand, actually. And usually that is the purview of our religions. They tell us who we are and what the rules of life are. What is a sin? And I'm going to use the word sin to mean a faux pas. What doesn't work? What is misstepping? What's a sin? And then they tell us about our nature. They tell us about God. Well, I want to talk about source energy, but I want to talk about it in a very matter-of-fact way. And I'm also going to talk about it in a very, you got to open your mind. You got to click that mind open and just know that you're feeling for it. And it kind of looks like this, but maybe doesn't look quite exactly like that, and let it float until something fills in as you feel for what it is we're talking about. You should do that with everything in your life. That's what an open mind is. When know that there is always an answer, and then feel for it, look for it. Be willing to input anything and feel it, taste it. What does that feel like? What does that idea feel like? What does that thought feel like? Our consciousness apparatus is way more flexible than we're giving it credit for. You can try on thoughts all day long. What does that feel like? What does that feel like? And when you try these thoughts on, it's like you input them into your consciousness machinery, and then you taste what it feels like when you do it. And so if you put on a thought and then oh, wow, that really makes the world look dark, or, ooh, when you try that thought on, look at how evil everybody starts looking around you. Well, that's not right, because I care how I feel, and that doesn't feel good to think that thought. And so I'm just not going to think that thought, and I don't care whether it's true or not, because it isn't true. It isn't true in a greater sense. So what is your inner being, and what is your configuration? We talk about it every day, but quite frankly, I have very few people that continue to listen to what I'm saying. The only people that have access to any of this now is my loved ones, people I actually know and care deeply about and trust with this project that I'm doing, because honestly, I don't know what I'm doing, and I could be looking very foolish as I make these programs. So I don't know who's listening to this. Right now, I think it's just loved ones, and they aren't listening regularly. So nobody's following me from day to day. Why did I say that? Well, law of attraction has not gotten a hold of this, and so I'm not talking to anybody who doesn't already know. In any case, I don't really know how this is going to land. I just feel compelled to do this. And I think who I'm doing this for is me. I think it's me. I remember some months ago when I first started this, I've been on a journey. My ability to sit in a room and talk to myself about source energy and our design and our future and our possible past for 2 hours every single morning has been growing. I certainly wasn't able to do this at the beginning. I could feel how certain thoughts that I had connected to one another, but I hadn't fully fleshed it out. And it's been a process as I have come to this space, and I don't know what I'm doing. I do this. I post it on Facebook. Not Facebook. I don't post anything on Facebook. I post it on YouTube, and then I keep going. And I don't know where this is going. Someday law of attraction will get a hold of this. Someday somebody that I want to connect with is going to hear this and hear what I'm saying and they'll go, oh my God, listen to what this girl is doing. This is really interesting. I need to co-create something with her because she understands something and I understand something, and I think that the two of us could make something. Whether it's a really cool, what do you call those? Podcast, or, podcasting is the way now because a whole new way of monetizing has come into being with not just with the internet, but with the state of platforms and technology and everything. It's gotten to the point where it's actually pretty easy. Buy the equipment, set up your little studio. My OBS studio was free and easy and actually gives me most everything that I need. I've got my cool, the YouTube studio is, well, I have YouTube Premium, so mine isn't free. But it's the easiest thing in the world for anybody to set up their own little, think of it as your personal radio station, and then flick it on the internet and then try to get some viewers, fish for viewers. Because in the old days, you had to provide a good or a service. You had to provide goods or services, make stuff and sell it, or produce stuff and sell it. Produce food or clothing, produce something, trinkets, souvenirs, whatever. Produce something and sell it to somebody. That was one way to monetize. Have a service provided. That was a way to monetize. Engage in a specialization. Learn something and then link your mind into the collective project. That was a way to get a paycheck from somebody. Go to work for the collective government, the collective will project, which I call, that's government. But that's still a service, or that's a physical service of some sort. You're providing, your body is showing up and providing some sort of a service, whether you're a park ranger or working the desk at a museum, or whatever it is. You're a police officer or a firefighter or a teacher, or that's one of those things. That was the way to monetize. Then there came another way, and it was an interesting thing. It came forth with our media, and that was being a celebrity. At first, the celebrities were I guess you had celebrities before this a little bit, like singers. People would know, oh yeah, she's a famous singer, or somebody did something spectacular and they became famous. But then there became this celebrity thing, with movies and stuff. Now people saw people that they didn't know, glamorous, beautiful people, and they... But there's a whole nother way now, and that is just attract attention. Attract attention, and that equals money. It equals your share of the currency that human beings represent, that we create, that we co-create, that we... Human beings produce a... How do I say this? We produce goods, we produce energy, we produce food, and in doing so, if you want a share of that, you have to monetize too. You have to plug into the collective. That's what monetizing is. You may wail and think about how wrong it is to force everyone to monetize. But in a way, our monetizing is plugging into the greater field. And it sort of means that because you have to do that, it means that you have a stake in where humanity is. whether they are burning fossil fuels, whether our activities are killing the planet, whether our understandings or misunderstandings are creating war and strife, and what you can't divorce yourself from it when you have to plug into it. And so it's both a good and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because, spiritually speaking, all human beings should have the right to eat just because we're here. But it doesn't exactly work that way. Nature doesn't exactly work that way. Kind of does, kind of doesn't really. But as a human morphogenetic field, we could determine that all human beings have a right to food. We could determine that, and I believe that someday down the road we will. But we haven't done that yet, and so if you are a human being and you want to eat, and you want to plug devices into the currency that human beings create, which right now is largely produced by fossil fuels, and even our green energy isn't all that green, and nuclear certainly isn't green at all, and even the other kinds of energies still, like, say if you're talking about wind or solar, you're still talking about massive equipment use. So it may be, it's not burning fossil fuels, but man, you had to make all those solar panels, and they don't last forever, and then you got to junk them, and how do you recycle them, and wind stuff, and they're huge. They use a great deal of all kinds of fossil fuels in order to get those dang things up and running to begin with, and they don't last forever, and they've got problems. And there's still plenty of people on the planet who don't have access to any kind of energy at all. So I feel like I'm all over the place, so just hold on one second. It's funny because I call my little show Who Am I? And the fact of the matter is that I do spend some of my time in a kind of identity crisis here in this show. I'm not sure exactly what this show is. When it started, it was me coming into a kind of Groundhog Day. And the reason that is because no one ever saw it. So no one had ever seen anything that I had done. And so it wasn't a running conversation. It was me coming into this space and continually trying to make a circle of some concepts that I saw that related to one another, that I thought were really big and really interesting. And I thought that they supported one another, and they were beyond big. They were the kinds of ideas that if we would grasp them and put them together and recognize how they interface with one another, that it would bring us to really, really, really big understandings about ourselves and our lives and our futures and our past. And so at some point I want to be able to make speeches about this and just connect these dots. It's me connecting dots, saying, look at this dot, look at this dot, look at this dot, and look at how they connect. And when you connect them, look at what picture appears. Look at who we are. Look at how blessed is the setup that we were born into, and all that is missing is our understanding of it. Because if we would live within this paradigm, this setup, this configuration in an optimal way, we can make our dreams come true. We just have to be a little more open and flexible about what our dreams are. So your inner being knows what your dreams are. Your inner being knows that what you want is these feelings. You are looking for feeling. You are looking for that feeling of love and appreciation and satisfaction and joy and connection and co-creation and meaningful purpose and deep, loving connection with all the universe around you. You want feelings of freedom and fun and play and joy. You're looking for feelings. For feelings. You are looking for feelings. Now, in your mind, you may have decided what objects equal those feelings. New car, feeling of fun. And actually, you probably aren't even thinking about it. You're probably just buried in life, gritting your teeth, looking at things around you, determined to try to make things better, hanging on for dear life in a life of struggle or pain or whatever. There's a lot of people out there suffering in a lot of different ways. Grandparents raising too many grandchildren because maybe they had a lot of children and those children had a lot of children and some of them didn't quite find their way. So they're back with grandma. And that's okay, but maybe it's not okay with you because you're in your 70s and it's kind of tiring and you don't know what to do and your resources are... Anyway, you're banging around in physical life and you're looking for meaning and you're trying to get by. That's probably what you're doing. You're just trying to get by. What is your dreams come true? Now, you may have some ideas of what they are, but your inner being knows what you want and knows how to lead you to those feelings that you want so much. Your inner being's all about feelings. Certainly, she knows how to lead you to the feelings that you are craving. Those feelings of security and safety and beauty and wonder and eagerness and delight. All those kinds of feelings that you are looking for. You want those feelings. Don't you love those feelings? Surprise and delight and eagerness and interest and fun and joy and... That's the feelings that we want. Now we have beliefs about our world that often get in the way of us moving towards what we want, moving towards our inner being's guidance towards what we want. We have beliefs in the way. We have beliefs that say, nah, I can't get that because this is the way the world is. This is the meaning of my world. Now, I want you to know this. You are designed to get what you want no matter what the conditions are. That's how you're designed. Now, you may not be understanding your design. So, the answer is we've got to feel our way to where we're going. You have to pay attention to how you feel. You need to not take thoughts that make you feel bad. There are so many choices of thoughts that you can take. And you may take a thought that seems true to you, but it feels really bad. And so, frankly, it's either not true or it's beside the point. It's one of those two. If it doesn't feel good, then either the thought you took is not true or it's beside the point. And what's the point? The point is your inner being guiding you to where you want to be. And she really knows where you want to be. She knows where you want to be more than you know where you want to be. You've got it all translated into thoughts and ideas and words and notions and beliefs, and you've got a whole system of that going on that may or may not be allowing you to move towards what you want. You're a creature that is designed to have ideas, to have thoughts, beliefs, and desires, and to be able to move directly towards those desires. You're designed that way. If there is something stopping you from moving towards desires of any sort, then you've got your equipment messed up. You're out of alignment with your own equipment. Who am I? So I guess this morning we're going to have a little show about talking about the nature of your equipment and how it works. How to move towards what you want and how to even know what you want is. So, how do we get started with this? I have a feeling that this show is also going to be a little clankety-clanky. I wasn't really happy with yesterday's, and I may or may not be happy with today's, because I don't know if anybody who's listening to me has any idea of the general setup. And here I am jumping into complex, advanced ideas about how to navigate your own dang equipment. Someday, somebody is going to come into my space, they're going to listen to my show, and they're going to go, oh my God, this girl really does understand how to operate your equipment from an advanced level. She just keeps forgetting to outline it for the beginner. She just keeps jumping into this place where she's already talking about stuff that we don't know what she's talking about. And so my friends and family, that are the only ones that I have tagged into my program, they listen to it and, they take it however they take it. Some of them are already there. They're way up to speed, and they're going, duh, Mom. And then others are maybe partially up to speed, and they're like, wow, she's kind of out on a limb. But I'm talking about how our equipment works, how it is that you get from where you are, wherever it is that you are. Now, and I don't know where you are, but let's assume you have some aspect of your physical life that is not completely to your liking, Maybe you've got too many grandchildren living with you. Maybe you don't have that career yet. That, you're a single mother and you're trying to get by, and you haven't quite, actually, I know a single mother trying to get by, and she is not focusing anymore about what she's got that she doesn't like. She's too busy focusing on all the possibilities and how to work her way out of, how to focus her way into all of the things that she wants. So given your situation, wherever you are, wanted or unwanted, you're in some kind of physical situation. You're sitting in your living room, you're sitting in your car, you're sitting in your skin. Wherever you are, you've got some kind of physical situation. Some of it you like and some of it you don't like. What do you do about it? What do you do about it? Something is not to your liking. Because almost always, something in our life is not to our liking. I could turn around and focus on something around my life that's not to my liking. But in any case, you've got something you don't like. How do you get out of it? Well, the way you do it is you take what you've got right where you are, and then you focus in aspects upon the aspects of it that you do like. Focus on the aspects of it that you do like. And then what's going to happen, what you want to have happen, your inner being already knows what you want. And so if you just follow that thread, you could find it. But maybe you've got a churning analytical mind, and that's not enough for you. You don't want to just have no thought and just drift in feeling towards what you want. Because your analytical mind wants to chew on things. And as a matter of fact, that's a lot of what your problem is. Your analytical mind grabs onto something, and the next thing you know, you're focusing over there, and then you're headed that direction, and then, oh my gosh. And it's all a big part of what you're getting. What you're focusing on is becoming reality to you. And so how you are focusing and what you are focusing on is really important. Are you living that life with contrast and elements that you don't like? Are you living it by focusing upon the aspects of it that you don't like? Are you doing that? How much of what you don't like are you focusing on? We're kind of taught to focus on what we don't like. We're taught to scan the horizon for problems, and then zero in on the problems and focus on them. We're kind of taught to do that because we believe that fixes things. And it kind of does in a way. It amplifies the step one. It makes sure that we get our eyes locked on to the thing that we don't like, so we get a big old hit of feeling about it. That would work if we would then understand that our equipment is designed to now get off of it. and have faith that source energy is on it. So we're going to go back to the steps of creation, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and what is happening in the field. Step 1, I ask. Step 2, so important. This is such an important step, and actually our belief in this step, our understanding of this step, and our leaning into this step is the most important thing. You've got to have faith that Source has answered you. There is an answer. There is an answer to every conundrum. Everything that we cry out for, there is a direction of the solution. And that solution feels like something. It feels like the solution. And you've got to get good at allowing what you have asked for to come to you. So step 1, I ask. Step 2, source energy answers. And that's where faith comes in. You got to have faith that this system is working this way. You ask, Source answers. Now what is your work? Step 2 wasn't your work. Source did it. You didn't have to do anything there. What is your work now? Your work is step 3. Get into alignment with the answer. Get out of alignment with the question and get into alignment with the answer. Vibrate the frequency of the answer, and then the universe will start feeding you ideas and impulses that will guide your steps in the direction of that which you are asking for. That's how it works. Step 4, you get good at step 3. You get really good at allowing the universe to give you your answers. If you stand in a place where you're staring at what you've got that you don't like, and you can't quit staring at it, and you're just beating the drum of, this is the way it is, 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 then the answer can never get to you. Your quest is to be happy. If you stay in the anger mode or the frightened mode or whatever feeling is not happy, you can't ever let happy get to you. And if you are counting on the conditions shifting in front of you, and then as soon as the conditions have shifted, then you can allow yourself to emit the frequency of happiness. If that's what you're waiting for, it's never going to happen. You have to get to that frequency first, and that helps the conditions morph into the conditions that equal happy. So we want our conditions to reflect happy. We absolutely do. But you have to know that the vibration comes first. The vibration precedes the manifestation. That is just the way the universe works. Actually, this brings me to this little point in my program that usually is my footnote. But right now, I'm going to throw it in right here. That is an understanding of cymatics. Cymatics being the study of the relationship between form and vibration and form. And originally it was studied by a man, it was discovered by a man named it was invented. I don't know how this study was started by a man named Hans Jenny, who would take a metal plate and put a granular medium, sprinkle a granular medium on top of this plate, and then pipe a frequency through it. And lo and behold, different frequencies caused different patterns. A pattern would appear. Lo and behold, a pattern appeared. And then lo and behold, different frequencies produced different patterns. And then you could put like thick liquid mediums, like cornstarch mixed with water, real thick, and put that on the metal plate, and then pipe frequencies through it and make it dance. It's actually really very cool things that you can do. This right here is a representation. These are digital cymatic patterns. They have been piped through some sort of digital device. Different frequencies produce different patterns. You can see that in this. This right here is more what the original cymatic study looked like. upper right, lower left, that is the metal plate with the granular medium on, and different frequencies piped through makes different. So vibration precedes the manifestation. It just does, which means that your vibrational equipment is it's your best piece of equipment, actually, to read the physical outside world, is your emotions. Now you might say, well, but wait a minute, your emotions, they're all over the place. That's not a good way to read the physical universe around you. But yeah, it is, actually. You just need to understand what your emotions are telling you, because you are a binary system. You are a binary system of mind. You are a binary system of form. You are actually your true nature as the quantum field is you are the formless coming into form. And you can be any form because you are the quantum field. And the quantum field can morph itself into anything. And it is doing that all the time. There's a momentum of the quantum field as it unfolds, its rolling manifestation, and there is a vibration. It is a vibrational universe. You are a vibrational being in a vibrational universe. You are made of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that's what the whole world is. And so the universe is vibrational, and you are vibrational, and you have two specific... Now, they are a co-creative oneness. You are a oneness. However, you have two specific aspects to you. You are your source mind, and you are your physical meat being mind. I like this picture right here. Imagine it as two spinning discs. It's a picture of two apertures, one wide open and the other one, focused in, if you will, tightly closed. Not closed, but it's focused in. So think of the wide open one. That's your source mind. Your source mind knows everything and is thinking about something. You, in your physical specific self, well, what do I want to say about that in reference to this other thing? How does this system work? These are both you. They're both you because you are made of source. It's not like you are you and then source is something attached to you. You are source energy. You are made of Plancks. You are the quantum field. Your atomic structure is made of Plancks. Everything is made of Plancks. What are Plancks? Plancks are the building blocks of space-time. They are the pixelations of space-time. Let's see. It's like this. Plancks are these little pixels of space-time. And they are solid in the field. In the field around you, it's solid pack of these space-time pixelations. Look down here at the bottom left where it says space-time pixelation. That there is what all of space-time is made of. So all of the empty space around you, the air, the empty, it's all that. It's not empty. It's the 0-point energy field. It's solid pack Plancks. You are made of Plancks. Everything that existeth in the universe is made of Plancks. Think of it as like the super dough, the super Play-Doh, the super fluid. It's a fluid. Because the universe behaves in ways that obey the laws of fluid dynamics. This space-time, this pixelated space-time acts like a fluid. And we're all made of it. And our understanding of how it works will both benefit us individually, trying to live our lives, trying to find where the hell what we want is, and why am I stuck with all of this danged suffering. That will help us on that level. And then on another level, as humanity, it will lead us to our freedom from fossil fuels, because this is the energy source of the future. This is the energy source that we can plug into that will fuel our 22nd century and, frankly, our 21st century lives. Because if we get to the end of the 21st century and we have not made the switch, we are living on a dying planet, if not a dead one. We are moving towards turning planet Terra into Dune. We cannot keep burning fossil fuels. We cannot keep... And I believe that the reason that we did not get off of it 100 years ago is because the consciousness wasn't there. We have to be aware of who we are as this pixelated space-time. As the 0-point energy field, as the holographic universe. We have to understand source energy, what it really is. Source energy is everything interacting with everything all the time. That's what source energy is, and it is located everywhere. And we will have to plug into it. We cannot keep plugging into the dirty fossil fuel of our planet, or any of the other kinds of fuels. The electric cars with their freaking lithium batteries, and even solar and wind power, they seem so green, but they aren't. They are not green. The true green energy comes from over-unity devices, on the one hand, which are devices that don't necessarily plug into the Dirac-C, the Planck field necessarily, not directly into source, but there certainly is. You can have devices that put out more energy than it takes to run them. We have been taught in our conventional science that that's not possible, and it absolutely is possible. And there's a long history of those devices having been created and then deep-sixed, oftentimes along with their inventors, if they didn't go quietly into the night. And then we all, it's all discredited from our perspective, and so the general mass of humanity is not clamoring for this technology, because it believes that this technology is impossible. And I'll tell you right now, anything that you believe is impossible, whether it was impossible to begin with, becomes impossible. And so we have been holding back for over a century from where we could have gone. And you know, our 21st and 22nd century and 23rd century, yada yada, that aspect of our civilization, it can't run on fossil fuel any more than it could have continued to run on whale oil to light our lamps and run our machinery. And it isn't going to run on wood power either. None of this is going to work. But if you believe, like I believe, that when we ask, source answers. When you ask, it is given. That means there is an answer. And when you get over into that place where you have faith and trust, and your analytical mind starts working with the possibilities in that faith and trust, and you know that there is an answer, lo and behold, it turns out there is an answer. Ask and it is given. Ask and it is given. And the answer is our better understanding of source energy. The mathematics have been done. So this is not the only paper that they have written. The first paper that came out that Nassim, I don't know whether he co-wrote it with anybody else or whether it was just him. I don't know. And if there was somebody else, please forgive me. And I'm not sure what the name of that paper was. But it was back in 2012, and it was a big one. They thought the world would change immediately, and it didn't, because it's taken 20 years and 22 years, and the reason it didn't change immediately is because, just like before, the consciousness has to catch up to this. this is a big understanding. It's not just the math. It's understanding who we really are. Who we are as the formless coming into the form. Who we are as the whole field. Because the whole field is a oneness that you can't, there's no divisions. It's a big holographic oneness aware of itself. And we are that. And there's a lot of implications to that. There's a lot of implications as to what we can create within that and what our systems of operation are going to look like based on a true understanding of our oneness with this morphogenetic field and all the possibilities. We believe right now we live in a paradigm of lack consciousness. And you know what? That's not true. I mean, you look around at the state of the manifestation right at this moment and you go, but it is true. Look at all the lack. I can look around and I can see so much lack. I can see these people are lacking what they need and those people are lacking what they need. And look at those animals over there. They certainly do not have what they need. I can point out the lack all day long. I can stand here and stare at the lack, at the lack, at the lack. You can't tell me it's not true. And in a way, it is true. Right now, you are discussing some aspect of the physical manifestation as it is right at this moment, and you can stare, and it is absolutely true. But the fact of the matter is that the truth of the real situation is that we live in a universe of Plancks that can form into absolutely anything. And we are holographic in nature, so you are connected to all things. So you can connect to the needs and wants and desires of all the rest of the field, and you can create something that satisfies all things. You could do that. You could do that. We are that. Who are we? What is this field that we live in? And how does our understanding of this quantum field bring us to everything that we want in this world? And so now let's back down to an individual. So say I'm just an individual and I'm living my life, and there's things that I want that I'm not getting. How do I get what I want? How do I get what I want? How does this understanding of source energy help me in my life? You know, grandmother with too many grandchildren living with them, or how do I get what I want instead of what I'm getting? Well, understand that your inner being knows what it is that you really want. There's things you think you want, and there's things that you really want. And the things that you really want are going to bring you to those feelings that you really want. Those expansive feelings of belonging and security and exhilaration and freedom and joy and fun and all of that. That's what you want. You want the feeling. You have ideas about where you think those feelings are and how you might be able to get them. A lot of times you imagine conditions, and so then you think you have to change the conditions to meet what you're thinking in your mind, and then as soon as those conditions match, now I'll feel good, now I'll feel these feelings, but you're actually not a very good guide to your own feelings. Especially if you are translating them into objects. Yeah, if I had this object, that would equal this feeling. Now, you have your needs as a physical being. You have needs. You need food, shelter, safety. Do you need safety? Yeah. The hierarchy of needs, that fits in there. But that's all part of what you want. What you want is going to involve your needs being met and your desires being met. Both your needs and your desires being met. That's what you want. And you have ideas in your analytical mind about what that equals. And then you have ideas in your analytical mind about what you think reality is. And you have ideas in your analytical mind about what you think the object of the exercise is. he who dies with the most toys, or the object of the... So maybe you believe that you are only here for one life, and the object of the exercise is to prove that you are worthy of going to heaven, or something like that. Then the translation of your actions is going to be way, 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 way different than if you believe that you are worthy, you are an eternal being, you're here forever, as long as you want to be. Anytime you want to experience flesh, you can morph into flesh. You are made of the quantum field, and you can dance and play with the momentums going. Actually, I'm getting too convoluted. A comparison of the person who thinks that they're here to prove worthiness. Maybe you think that the object of the exercise is to learn as much as you can, and to love as much as you can, and to get in touch with yourself and the rest of creation. Then the translation of your actions is going to be way, 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 way different. Actually, I think that it comes down to, do you believe that you live in a paradigm of strife and struggle? Or do you believe that you live in a kind and gentle, loving universe? That's going to affect how you behave. That's going to affect how you see the object of the exercise. There are many people who live on this planet who believe that the setup is this. They believe the setup is a zero-sum game. Win-lose. Scarcity paradigm. It's a lackful world. There's a finite amount of resources, and we are all fighting over those finite resources. There's more and more of us, so that will be less and less for every one of us. Therefore, if I see anyone who is themselves thriving and in the midst of tremendous abundance, my only conclusion is they must be taking it from me. There's a lot of people out there who believe that that is the paradigm. That's the setup. And when you believe that's the setup, then you behave accordingly. And your behavior is out of alignment because that is not the setup. When you believe that the setup is not what the setup is, that puts your analytical mind out of alignment with what your inner being knows. It's just as simple as that. So I started to talk about this paper, and then I didn't go any farther with the paper. Part of my thesis is that this understanding of source energy has two distinct components. One speaks to us collectively as we struggle with our collective issues, the problems that affect us all, like the 6th mass extinction on planet Earth. That affects us all. The hole in the ozone, that affects us all. What is my little list of badnesses? War affects us all. What is the rest of it? I have my little list of badness, and I can't remember. They don't trip off my tongue. That's what we want. It's not what we've got. Well, hold on a second, because I can always pause this. There's no reason why you need to listen to me search. There it is. 6th mass extinction, the growing deserts, garbage island, hole in the ozone, war, holocausts. You get the idea. That's our collective problems. And I do believe that most, if not all, of these can be ameliorated, can be not just ameliorated, but these problems will go away if we plug our systems into source energy instead of plugging them into fossil fuels. Fossil fuels is what's causing the scarcity. Fossil fuels is and the scarcity of energy. We need more energy. We do. We need more energy. We need to be able to resequester the carbon back into the ground and desalinate ocean water and recycle Garbage Island. And the wars are largely being fought over scarce resources. And the resources are scarce because of this paradigm of scarcity that people are living, instead of understanding that we live in a potentially infinitely abundant system, that if we would learn how it works and co-create with it, instead of slashing and burning and disregarding how it works, if we co-create with it, we can create the planet of abundance that we all long for. That enough for everyone. And I long for a planet that is not only enough for everyone, all people, but so much left over that all of the critters have enough too. I hate it when everything gets so scarce that you have to not share with all of the rest of God's creatures. I don't like living in a planet where all of it goes to people. Don't like that. But we are living on an abundance creation machine of such magnitude that if we would learn how to work with it and co-create with its order, we can solve all of our problems and make all of our dreams come true. So, but that's our collective issue. And I do believe that this understanding of source energy gets us there too. Because literally we'll be able to get off of fossil fuels, and when we quit burning that nasty shit and all of its, from not just oil but coal, when we quit burning all of that, our skies are just going to just naturally come right back to life. And when we have unlimited, free, clean energy to work with, we can do all the things that I said that will fix all of our problems. We'll be able to, Garbage Island, we can recycle. The growing deserts, we can shrink the deserts by desalinating as much ocean water as we need and want and can handle. Create vast oases in the middle of the Sahara Desert. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Pipelines of water. Pipelines running all over the planet that take water instead of oil. Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that be amazing? I want to live in that world. I think we can. I think that the answer is understanding source energy. So, okay. So maybe you grant me this point. But you see that this is actually going to take a while to unfold, that one. Like maybe decades, possibly a century. So it's not going to be something that's going to play out in my lifetime. How does my understanding of source energy help me anyway? How does it help me individually, let alone how it helps us collectively? Well, when you understand your own guidance system, you will understand that you have an inner being who is right now and at all times broadcasting to you a signal, that if you would tune into this signal, she is telling you how to get from where you are to what you want. And she knows what you want. She knows what you specifically want. The colors, the textures, the people, the experiences that you have been through. She knows what you want out of all of it. She knows what is. She's got her eyes on what you want, what you want. So we're back to this picture of your source energy mind and your specific self mind, right? Now the idea, and it would be great if I was a person who had any tech savvy whatsoever, imagine these two superimposing over one another and line the centers up with one another. That's what you got to do. You got to line these up with one another. Line up your specific self with what your inner being knows. Your inner being is shining light all over. It's shining light in a particular way. You need to follow that light. You don't need to be grubbing around in the darkness where your inner being is not shining its light. What is your inner being looking at? Your inner being sees everything. What's it looking at? Sees everything. What's it looking at? It's looking at what you want. At what you want. At the path of least resistance that will lead you directly to what will satisfy you the most. And it knows this because it has been a part of your life, every step of your physical life, as you declared, this is what I prefer, this is what I like, this is what I want, this is what will float my boat. Every step of your life, you have declared that. And your inner being has marked it and is looking at the way forward. It's looking at what you want. And when you don't look at what you want, then you aren't going towards what you want. So what does this mean in your life? So maybe you got a big load of what you don't want. That's true. However, within this general thing that you don't want, there are many, 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 many diverse aspects. And some of them you very much do like and do want. And so how do you find the path to where you want to be from where you are? The way you find the path is by practicing, focusing upon aspects around you that you do like. This is you in your consciousness recognizing what you do like and what you do want. Your inner being's all over it. You need to join the party. You need to be the one looking at what you want and not fixating and focusing on the aspects of things that you do not want. Because whatever it is you are focusing on, whichever direction you are looking and how you are feeling is a direct read on where you're going. And if it doesn't feel good, your GPS is telling you, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there. But I must go there because it's true, because it's true. No, not true. You need to start seeing the world vibrationally as wholeness instead of image-wise as wholeness. You think that your life actually has many, 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 many elements of it that you do like. And if you would focus upon the elements of life that you do like, your inner being will lead you to that place where all of the elements of what you do like, where they converge, where it's everything that you want. It knows where everything that you want is. And you might be having more of a hard time because you're just looking at I don't know how to say this without seeming to contradict what I've just said, so I'm not going to keep up with that thought. I'm not going to tell you what's hard. I'm going to tell you how to do it. Focus on what you want. Focus on feeling good. Practice feeling good. Practice little desires that you believe and then move towards those little desires. Know that you matter. Know that there is no reason for you don't have to prove your worthiness. You are worthy just because you're here. Just because you are part of this dance, a part of this reality that is so blessed and so cool. If you're focusing on aspects of it that do not please you, then you are practicing that frequency, and you are moving in the direction of more and more of that, instead of practicing how to move from where you are to where you want to be, to where you like what it is. You gotta use the landscape that you've got. Use what you like within the landscape of what you've got to move your vehicle from where you are to where you want it to be. That's unclear, complicated. If you are a student of law of attraction, you know what I'm talking about. You already have the idea. You understand what I'm talking about. First of all, we are vibrational beings in a vibrational universe. I believe I said that before. But these two minds are also two spinning points of attraction. And these points of attraction are attracting motion from the rest of the universe. They are pulling in cooperative components to... Now, your inner being has a very, very powerful, positive point of attraction. It is connected to all things, and it is moving our collective evolution forward in a very real way. The whole field is moving towards evolution. We are expanding, we are growing, we are growing in our knowing, our consciousness. We are expanding. Always expanding to the more, to the better, to the more, to the better. And your inner being is all over that, is in touch with that, is aware of that, knows all about that. In its holographic nature, it is in touch with all of that, and it is attracting in your favor. That other side of you also is a point of attraction. And depending on what kind of chaotic or coherent notes that it is singing with, your whole system is either in clarity or it's in chaos. It's in coherence or it's in chaos at any given time. And you go move in and out of it, move in and out of it. And we call the clarity part, we call it alignment. When your two selves are lined up with one another, that's your alignment. You move in and out of this all day long. And the thing is if you could get your whole system in alignment with itself so that your analytical mind was thinking about things that were really true and not just fanciful thoughts. Now, it turns out, as a human being, even fanciful thoughts have a tremendous power to unfold themselves. That's one of the reasons why the world around human beings looks so unnatural, looks so crazy. The things that we create are not what the rest of the world creates. It's because we have this particular ability to be all over the map. It's both a curse and a blessing. But if you can get your analytical mind in alignment with what your inner being knows to be true about the universe, and work in true tandem with itself. Wow. I think that there's absolutely nothing that human beings could not do. We are so amazing. We are such an amazing species, such an amazing creature. We talk about states of being. States of being, they're so important. The reason that they are important is because your state of being is your indication of how you are navigating your starship through the universe. If you feel bad, then you create your own reality. And you can tell what reality you are creating by how it feels. And you need to lead with your feelings, not with your eyes. What does it feel like? Does it feel bad? Well, just close your eyes and move towards what feels good. Close your eyes and move towards what feels good. And I mean feels good emotionally. Emotionally. So your emotions are actually not freestanding singular things. They are a relative thing. Because you have two minds, and both of those minds are thinking thoughts. You, in your small self, are thinking whatever thoughts you're thinking. You're thinking about, got to go grocery shopping. You're thinking, I hate my neighbor. You're thinking, I hate my life. Or I'm eager and excited about tomorrow. Or I'm dreading tomorrow. Or whatever. You're thinking whatever thoughts you're thinking. And you are free to think whatever thoughts you're thinking. Your inner being, in a way, is not as free to think any thoughts it wants to. It is knowing all that existeth upon the atomic structure of the universe. It knows everything that is and how it's all moving, because it is in contact with itself through the Planck field. And everything is there's this universal jiggle of space-time as all these Plancks kind of jiggle with each other, the jiggle of space-time. It's creating this interference pattern across all the scales, an interference pattern that contains all of the information of every point all the time. Now. They keep uploading to the whole, and their information is, so your inner being knows what is. And so it's not free to think about things that aren't, because why would it? It's in touch with how all the blood is flowing and how the wind is blowing and how the stars are rotating and how the stream is. It's busy being aware of all that is. So it doesn't have imagination like that. It's aware of everything that is, and now it's looking at what you want. Why is it looking at what you want? Because you have been asking for it. Your whole entire existence, you have been declaring what you like, what you want. What do you like and what do you want? You like love. You like cooperation. You like abundance. You like freedom. You love these things. You love satisfying relationships and good food and fun and entertainment and abundance and safety and clarity. And those are the things you like. Those are the things you want. Those are the feelings that you enjoy. Your inner being knows all that. Knows who you are. Knows what you want. Knows your favorite colors. Knows your favorite people. Knows in this iteration of this physical life, knows where all of the things that you have declared that you like, where they are right now. You declared it when you passed by them. You declared the colors that you like and the people that are your favorite and the brands and the artists and the poets and the landscapes and the sensations. You declared them all as you went past them. This is what I prefer. This is what I prefer. And your inner being knows full well where those things are that you declared that you liked, where they are right now, and how they have been moving since you declared that you liked them or loved them or preferred them. And the reason that it knows where everything is moving, how everything's moving, because it's all coming out of a single spin. And so your inner being, who is in touch with the source of all things, knows how, where everything that you have been... What is the short answer here? We live in a universe of amazing capability to organize us all in beautiful, symphonic, harmonic ways. How does it do that? It does it through our desire, through the impetus of our desire. What is our desire? It's our bliss. It's the same thing that Joseph Campbell says when he says, follow your bliss. He is saying, follow that wick of what your desire is, what turns you on, what lights you up, what brings you to life. And at first, if you are not much to life, you may be starting at a place that doesn't sound so exalted. This right here, this is your emotional guidance system, and this tells you basically the call of source. The call of source is upward. And when you're down in revenge, then worry seems like a step up. Worry would then be a very good thing. because you're coming up, out, your frequency is rising. All of this, you can feel what this is a scale of, and whether you take umbrage with the placement of these words. You know, whether you think that jealousy is above hatred and hatred is below, or revenge is the word, whatever. If you take umbrage because of the way you have defined these words yourself, know that the scale, at least, is feel what it is. Feel that the lower ones are strong negative momentum, and as you loosen that negative momentum and move towards, it's kind of the doldrums, that slack place where there's not much of any momentum that you can feel. You've made it up to boredom. That's what boredom is. Not very much negative momentum, but there you are in boredom. You're not quite into satisfaction yet. This is actually the strongest devil's playground that there is. Right there. Idle hands, right there at the point of boredom. You don't really have much going on yourself. Now, your inner being, that large, wide open aperture aspect of yourself, it always has a strong, positive momentum going. But you, in your small, specific physical mind, you may, if you are taking thoughts all over the dark place that your inner being doesn't resonate with and is not agreeing with, it's like you putting negative trains down in opposition to your inner being's positive trains, and they are locking you in place and you're not going anywhere. It's kind of what you can see is going on in our political arena. If you look at the two houses, I don't mean the Senate and the House, I mean the two parties. They're sort of locked together and we aren't going anywhere. As a nation, we can't get anything done. And you know what? I used to think that was a bad thing. I'm starting to think that it's a really good thing that we are not getting anything done, because a lot of the things that we would try to get done are not in alignment, and I don't want us to do those things anymore. The infrastructures that we would put into place would enhance our ability to pipe fossil fuels around. We would invest in pipelines and roadways and ground transportation, and we might even invest in electric vehicle charging stations. And I'm not sure that that's a good idea either. It's not what we should be doing. We should be throwing ourselves behind an understanding of source energy so that humanity can plug its systems directly into a free, clean source of energy. Now, you can understand that there's a lot of parts of this system that don't want us all to have free, clean energy everywhere on planet Earth. There's a lot of people that are threatened by, immediately their oil fields would start going quiet, and their pipeline, figuratively and literally, to their billion-dollar yachts and their private islands and their Learjets would dry up. That is what would happen immediately, and they don't want that to happen because, of course, they want the toys to play with physically, because isn't it fun to play with the abundance that we can create on planet Earth? In actual fact, I think that we can all have anything that we want, because we could get to a place where free, clean energy was a thing, and recycling all of our waste and garbage, no problem whatsoever. And mining new elements, rare elements, won't be a problem because we can do it out in space. We have a whole planet or something that got disintegrated somewhere between I think it's between us and Mars. I should go look at that. I think it's between us and Mars. So obviously I was wrong. The asteroid belt is between Mars and Jupiter. But in any case, it represents like a whole planet's worth of elements that can be mined. It's like a planet that's been broken into smithereens. So we should be able to go find the elements we're looking for more easily than when they're like... Anyway, what I'm saying is that our future is very bright. Our future is very bright if we would but understand how we are designed and work with it. I'm going to show these. I always show these. I usually do this too for a minute. These are the 5 kleshas of Buddhist philosophy considered to be the root cause of all suffering. The reason I bring these up is because it underscores my position, which is I believe that a better understanding of source energy, in other words, who we really are, not who we fancifully imagine that we are, but who we really are, as the Planck field, giving birth to all form. That's who we really are. And who we really are is an eternal being, eternally playing in this world of form. That's who we really are. When you identify that way, all of a sudden the suffering goes away. And you go, oh, this is a magnificent and marvelous world we live in. So I'm going to very quickly, I do this all the time. At some point, I suppose, I'm going to be talking to my daughter soon. I would like to be able to embed some links to other people's things. To my presentation so that they can easily go find. There's the movie, The Lost Century and How to Reclaim It. That is a documentary talking about the history of the kinds of devices that have been deep-sixed for the last century to keep us from getting off of fossil fuels, from even reducing the amount of fossil fuels that we use. Because there are forces in our physical manifested reality right now. Maybe not forces. There are beings, there are humans there are powers that be. I don't know how to say this. They don't have to be, but right now they are getting their political power and their pipeline to their stuff comes from fossil fuels. And they don't want it to end. And our consciousness has to rise to the level where we understand, first of all, that it's possible. And second of all, that if we don't do it, we're all going to die. So we are going to do it. It's like, we are. Source has us. Source has answered our prayers. We just have to get into alignment with the well-being that's trying to get to us. It really is going to be all right. Fear not, people, for all is well. All is well. This is the answer. The answer has come into being. There are people working on it. I would suggest if you are a bright young mind interested in math or physics, go help these people. Go help these people over at the International Space Federation or the Resonance Science Foundation. There has to be a place for your mind to help us with our technologies of the 21st and 22nd centuries. We got to get out of fossil fuel and into source energy. It will help us with our wars. It will help us understand our own negative emotions, for one thing, which is the large part of what fuels frickin' war, is all of our negative emotions. But it will also help with our sense of abundance. We are now scrabbling over scarce, truly. There is a scarcity consciousness. There is a scarcity reality in play right now because our scarcity consciousness has created it. And we need to get out of this scarcity consciousness so that we can get into the abundance that we are truly meant to live. This biofield that we are a part of on this planet is amazing in its diversity, in its elasticity, in its ability to bounce back even after we have shredded and abused it so long. It can still bounce back. It will just need us to understand how it works, who we are, how to get into alignment with it instead of working at cross purposes with it. We are not in competition with anything. The paradigm is win, 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 win. And it is not a 0-point game. It is a unlimited, infinite potential game. When we live as though it is that way, it will be that way. When we live as though it is a zero-sum game and competition for scarce resources, it becomes that. We really are amazing, amazing creatures in our ability to our thoughts turn to things. We create our own reality. It's absolutely spectacular and amazing how this works. And if you would understand how it works for you, then you yourself can get into harmonic tandem with your own inner being. And let source energy guide you to your greatest potential, your greatest life, your greatest happiness. That is probably it isn't the end of my, because I realize I have left out one big part of this picture. So remember I said I'm drawing, I'm connecting dots. So one of my dots is this mathematical paper. Not just the one paper, but the whole understanding of the holistic understanding of how the quantum field, how the quantum space-time at the quantum level, how it mathematically relates to space-time at the cosmological level. That's basically the understanding. And with that understanding comes an understanding of source energy and this spin that it's all coming out of, this spin that we all share, that we all relate to. Everything is spinning. We're all spinning. Your life coming at you is a function of spin. Them spinning at a different speed than you are, and then they come at you and they meet you here and there, and everything is spinning. Very interesting understanding. I haven't done this part. This part is just where you see the human brain and what it is composed of. It's composed of lower aspects, your lizard brain, your reptilian aspect, your mammalian aspect, and then there's this layer of brain, your neocortex. And this is a big part of the physical human mind. This is the human mind. Where did this neocortex come from? It came from human chromosome number 2. 76% of the neocortex volume comes from human chromosome number 2. And it turns out that human chromosome number 2 is a fused chromosome. It is 2 other chromosomes fused together with redundancies clipped away on both sides of the fusion. And this article was published back in 1991 by some geneticists. I could go back here and you can look at their names. Baldini, Ward, Lido, and Wells. Lido, Baldini, Ward, and Wells. They published this in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. You can find it very easily, pnas.org. And they didn't do anything with it, as far as I know. I have no idea what they did. They just studied this chromosome, and they mapped its sequencing on both sides of telomeres in the middle of this big chromosome. It's the second largest one in the human genome. I'm not sure what the largest one would be. Maybe chromosome number 7. I still need to do some research on that. But what they concluded is that what they're looking at is the relic of an ancient telomere-to-telomere fusion, and marks the point at which two ancestral ape chromosomes fused to give rise to human chromosome number 2. Voila. So I believe we are genetically modified beings. This would have happened around 200,000 years ago, whenever our modern scientists, because I love scientists, I believe scientists, they talk about when anatomically modern humans appeared on the earth. They used to call this Cro-Magnon man. They don't call it that anymore. I think it's because it's too hard to pronounce. Maybe it was because it was not as accurate as just saying anatomically modern humans. That seemed more accurate to people. What is Cro-Magnon man anyway? That's when this appeared. Now, that would imply extraterrestrials, absolutely. Now, why is that such a foreboding subject? And for ages, for decades and decades, if you believed in extraterrestrials in any way, you were considered some kind of a kook. You know, it would be the end of your public career. You know? I believe that the reason that UFOs are largely trying to be kept a secret from us, they may not be all that common to begin with. They may be a little bit rare. I don't think they're all over the place. I've never seen one myself. But the way they move implies technologies that we don't have. And I think that if we were allowed to just openly and honestly study them and talk about what we've seen and put our heads together about what the implications of that means, I think that we would move away from fossil fuels even quicker. That's why I bring this up. I do believe that the UFO thing is a real thing. And I think that the reason that it's kept as a secret, it's kind of an open secret now, but it's still a secret. It's an open secret. But by being a secret, we do not collectively put our heads together and address it, because it seems like still a little bit on the kooky side. So I guess I've gotten to all of it. I think I'm going to end right there for the day. If you are one of my regular listeners, then I don't know who you are, first of all, and you probably don't really exist, because I'm not sure I have regular listeners anymore. Whoever listened to a bunch of my earlier stuff, they got my gist, and they went, I see what she's trying to add together. I don't need to listen to this every day. I need to have a bigger following before I get people who are listening to me every day. And I get that. And I understand that. I don't have a problem with that. In a way, it's a relief not to have regular listeners, because I still don't know what I'm doing. I am coming into this space perhaps to create this forum, and perhaps just to grow within myself, to build this pathway within my own consciousness, where I very, very, very clearly can see how the dots connect between source energy, my psychological being, how I read my emotional guidance system, and all of us collectively getting off of fossil fuels and creating the world of abundance and clarity and freedom and joy and beauty that all of us really, really want. That's what all of us want. And so maybe that's what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I am just here doing what, as the Spirit is moving me. So I hope you're with me again sometime. Let's see, what do I want to end up with? I could end up with this one just because it's pretty. Until tomorrow, if you were with me today and I see you tomorrow, great. Welcome. I love you. If I never see you again, you're still welcome and I still love you. So until tomorrow, when I find myself in this space again anyway, until tomorrow, I bid you adieu.